Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft. Okay, with the Southern Woodsman series, the knife that William Collins sent me to eval. I'm going to give you my first impressions now that I've had it for a couple of weeks and I've had a chance to use it quite a bit. And I've used it as my go-to knife in the kitchen. I've used it as my go-to knife around the house. And if they'd let me carry it at work, I'd do that, but they get a little upset with that. So, give you a better picture of it first off. The rough dimensions are it's 10.5 inches front to back, and it's 1 1/4 inches at the widest point. It's, like I said before, tool steel, and I'm not going to give you the grind because that's something that William's trying to work out, so that's kind of like a trade secret. But what I have found thus far from the transition from one grind to another, the saber grind up here at the front and the straight Scandi type grind at the back. Of course, the Scandi grind is the perfect choice for debarking, things like that, whereas the saber grind up here is really good for slicing meat. And what I did was I choked up on the knife like this and was slicing roast with it there one night to put in the pot. It does a really good job. It batons well, although I'm not a big baton person. And it does a really good job at using this straight edge at this grind to hog off bark, you know, make shivers, make feather sticks, super fine little things like that. And then by shifting up here this saber grind up front, I can do this draw cut like that and do fine little bitty cuts. I've been very impressed with it on cutting meat. That bottom swell right there like a butcher knife. And to be honest, in the hand, it feels like a butcher knife. I mean, that's the closest analogy I can give you. Of course, the custom handle fits the hand perfect. But the feeling, the intent, is that of a butcher knife, which I really like. When I was cutting those big roasts, it was just no problem to sit there and slice them into chunks. It holds an edge very well. It does want to roll just a little bit. This angle is a little shallow, and so you have to worry about putting a wire edge on it. Once you learn the trick of removing that wire edge, though, no problem. And I've dulled it and resharpened it a couple times now. I intentionally dulled it one time going through 2x4s in order to baton it and dull it to see how hard it'd be to sharpen. And I was able to get it back where it would shave in what I consider a reasonable amount of time. Now this would be something that I could touch up in the field with a round diamond hone fairly easily. So I think, William, you've got the hardness correct. That's definite. The angle is pretty close to optimum. I have not found anything yet it does badly, but I'm still looking. This is going to be a long term. I'm not just going to give you 5 minutes of looking at it and then say, hey, it does this and that's it. I'm going to take it and really work this knife and find out what it's really good for and what this particular grind is really good at. But thus far, I can report that the grind is easily sharpened and maintained in the field, in my experience. This particular blade configuration, and several of the other guys you're going to see, like Brian, Keith, and several others, Snowwalker Bushcraft, they got a different design knife totally. I mean, he's got a big knife compared to mine. So it's different styles. How does it hold up in a big knife? How does it hold up in a small knife? Well, in a butcher size knife, thumbs up. It's doing really, really good. And I like the fact that I can take it with this straight edge, use it to plane, to throw right back to me. And this is old. It's green, but it's a hardwood. So this is not a good tester. If I had nice soft sugar pine here, I could just run off ribbon curls with this thing. But what was laying around right now was actually a hardwood that's been cut a couple of days, but it's still very green. And I can take paper thin shavings off of it by staying to that Scandi grind, Scandi cut. And so for making up fire, shavings, it's no-brainer. Does real good. Saving the saber cut for when I'm trying to do carving, I did a pot hook the other day with it, and it did it real well. It was not an encumbrance. Yeah, I would probably want a little smaller knife, but that's because I'm just used to like that bush lore. but I did not in any way feel unarmed with this. So, for my first installment of the prototype knife, I can say that yes, it can be sharpened in the field. Yes, it can be maintained in the field. I haven't tried it with river rocks yet. That's coming up. And I can keep this angle fairly well. And it does a good job at processing firewood, and thus far it has processed large hunks of meat very well. Now the question is going to be, does it do fish scales, and does it do fish and small game well? That'll come up a little bit later. But right now, I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft saying safe journeys. William Collins makes a damn fine knife. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.